Hi guys, Viola once again. Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about some burst builds. Generally for burst builds in corrupted dungeons, they are categorized with very high DPS in a very short period of time and high mobility to escape the fight once their rotation is completed, and very low cooldown for their offensive abilities so that they can, once finish escaping, come back into the fight and finish off their opponent. As such, they often tend to use cloth as armor pieces and very little solid defenses that will help them last through the fight. As such, we need to capitalize on this low defense and try to take them down while soaking up their damage as a curse skull. What's most important to you is the amount of Q stacks on the enemy players, as Q stacks are your main source of damage. The other skills are just around to either increase the Q stacks damage, or to reduce the damage that you take, or to help you last longer in the fight. As such, you need to properly rotate your defenses and ensure that you are not overlapping your defenses. Also, you should try to use your E more defensively rather than offensively. So, say for example, when there's a melee player on you, you need to make sure to use your E so as to keep yourself away from them rather than trying to hit them with the E. Now without further ado, let's begin today's lesson with a loss against the Trident. I started the fight here with a very bad position, both having not eaten my food as well as not being able to check his build and suffering hook damage and the normal attack damage. Luckily for me, I was already in the skills that I wanted to use. However, this already caused him to have a health advantage over me, and that is what ultimately caused me to lose the fight. Here we see his build: Hylian Hood, Cleric Robe, and Assassin Shoes. The Hylian Hood provides an ability called Smoke Bomb, which drops an area such that both of us are silenced within the area. However, he is able to hit me with his normal attacks while I am unable to target him at all. As for the Cleric Robe and the Assassin Shoe, it provides him an iframe upon damage if not upon activation of skill, and hence deny any damage. This causes big problem for my build, as my build is built upon out DPSing over the time, as well as sustaining that DPS with the lifesteal from Rosepock as well as Merc Jacket. Hence, the only way that I can beat him here is if I rotate my defenses properly and outmaneuver him through there. When he pops his E, which greatly increases his normal attack speed, you should use your Ice Block or the Guardian Boots. However, I would recommend the Ice Block, as I would save the Guardian Boots for when he pops his Hylian Hood. This is so that I can reduce the damage I take as I am walking away from his Hylian Hood area. And then I will pop my Merc Jacket after he pops his Cleric Robe, so as to get the most potential out of my Merc Jacket. However, with the 50% of HP lost from the first engagement, I'm really set to lose this fight. Okay, let's take a look at the second fight with Deathgivers. He is using a Stalker Hood, Assassin Jacket, and Hylian Shoes, which is a pretty standard build for a Deathgiver. The Stalker Hood will only be used when your health is below 50% so as to quickly burst you down, as when your health is below 50%, the skill will reduce your resistance as well as giving him increased damage. As for the Assassin Jacket, it's an invisibility to buy him time for his E cooldown after he uses his combo. For the Hylian Shoes, it's used to greatly increase the damage when the channel ends. There's not a lot of defenses used in his build aside from the invisibility. Try to keep your health above 50%. After he uses his Hylian Shoes, you have to pop the defenses after about 2 seconds, as they will most likely E you once they finish the channeling. Try to save at least one defensive for when you drop below 50% so as to give yourself some allowance for any errors that you might make. with the Mark Lock Cape acting as the last defense when your health drops below 25%, this should be an easy fight. Just a quick note, if you're playing against enemies who are using invisibility to their advantage, these watcher mobs will disable their invisibility. Now let's take a look at the third fight against light crossbows. He is using Mage Cowl, Cleric Robe and Soldier Boots. Mage Cowl gives him the poison ability, while the Cleric Robe gives him invulnerability. That will be his main defense and also his only defense. Should the fight turn bad against him, he will have the Soldier Boots to get him away. There's only two things you have to take note for this build: the E and the silence. For the E, pop your defense about 3 to 4 seconds after he uses his E so as to mitigate the damage that he deals. As for the silence, just keep on sidestepping him and move in an unpredictable manner so that he misses his silence. This build can't really out DPS you if you are rotating your defenses well. However, it can escape you pretty easily, so consider taking Desecrate to lock down when they use the Wanderlust. This player here has done a very good job in timing their Wanderlust, and he has escaped from me quite a few times as a result. Right here, I could have positioned the E much better by channeling it towards the northwest direction rather than towards the northeast direction. Luckily for me, I still managed to beat him in the end. Now let's take a look at the fourth fight against the One Hand Frost. He's using Cleric Cowl, Mage Robe and Guardian Boots, as well as the Morgana Cape that you expect on a One Hand Frost. The Cleric Cowl offers an Ice Block option, hence you should expect him to use it when you use your E. So avoid using the Merc Jacket and E combo as you will not be getting the most potential out of it. You have to be careful when to use your Merc Jacket as he can easily purge it with his Mage Robe. Lastly, for his Guardian Boots, you should match his Guardian Boots together with your Guardian Boots so that he does not get an health advantage over you in this period. Usually you will expect One Hand Frost as a kiting build rather than a bursting build. However, in this case, this guy wasn't using the second W like per normal. He was using the fourth W as a damage option. Also, with the Morgana Cape, it gives him ample damage for him to easily burst me down if I was not able to time my defenses correctly. The Guardian Boots that he was wearing would help him last longer in the fight. The most critical point you have to take note of in this fight is to try to nullify as much damage as you can while his Morgana Cape is active. Also, you can consider sidestepping when he's using the third Q so as to not get hit as many times. Now let's look at the last fight against the bow, which is a very popular option in corrupted dungeons. Bows are very popular for the high burst damage she can deal with normal attacks. In this case, he's using a Helium Hood, Cleric Robe and Soldier Boot. A Helium Hood is an excellent option for the bow since all it really needs is the normal attack. Silencing its opponents and making itself untargetable gives it a very big advantage. Cleric Robe is offering an invulnerability option. While it does increase the damage dealt since it's a cloth armor, it is also costing him some defense. As for the Soldier Boot, a well-timed Wanderlust has already proven that it can help anyone escape. Since this build that I'm using isn't the most mobile, it is very critical to make your defenses count while stacking your kills on him. You also need to force him to pop his Cleric Robe before you pop your Merc Jacket to get the most potential out of it. Using a Desecrate option that I advised earlier against the light crossbow is not wise in this situation because you need all the DPS you can get to out DPS the bow. I quickly realized here that my Mercenary Jacket was simply insufficient to counter whatever damage that he was dealing, and as such, I quickly switched to the Ice Block to nullify any damage that he can deal. As he stayed close to me, I was able to finish him off with the last hit from Q. Okay, that's it for the video. Now the class is over. I hope you like it and subscribe for more. See you next time.